Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And live and direct, welcome back to another rendition of Leadership Live right here on the Los Angeles Tribune, where every week we bring together leaders literally from around the world to discuss leadership principles for your life and, of course, for your business. And I'm very excited this week because we have an all-star lineup of folks that are going to delve into principles that you can take away and actually apply to your life and to your business. And Parisa, before we introduce Sir James Dentley, how excited are you, Parisa?
I am honestly, I'm so excited. I think it's so valuable to have periodical conversations all throughout the week with those that are like-minded to you. And this panel, these people here are exactly that. So I think it's not just a value for me, and I'm not just excited about it, but I think that everyone that's listening and that will listen can also grab just incredible value from all that are going to share today. Super excited.
Absolutely. And I'm so excited because we're going to open up for the next few minutes with James Dentley before we introduce an awesome panel in about 5 minutes to join the conversation. But James Dentley is our VIP guest this week, so we wanted to open up exclusively with him. Dr. James Dentley, you know, I've been an admirer of your work for so long because one thing that you've consistently done in your career is help other people. Right. I think that if somebody were to say, how can you define James Dentley's life in one sentence? According to me, James, it's helping other people. And this week, we're going to discuss that principle with this group of leaders, is the power of giving in leadership. You see, a lot of people, they're takers, James, but they're not givers. They forget the second part of the equation, right? And so what I want to do is I want to discuss with you the principle of living a life of abundance, of opening doors for people, of giving opportunities to people. And what does leadership mean to you, James Dentley, when it comes to the art of giving? Please, floor is yours.
Wow. Well, first and foremost, I'm very honored to get a chance to be here, sir. We got a chance to spend some time together in Texas when we were there about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago. And I'm a big fan of your work. I'm a big fan and admirer of your work and of as being an entrepreneur and being innovative and really wanting to breathe life through the Los Angeles Tribune and through this medium to be able to share messages of hope, opportunity, and to be able to get a great, strong, positive message out there where people can be informed, enlightened, empowered, and inspired as well. So, and Percy, it's a pleasure to meet you as well. When it comes to servant leadership, it's really about understanding that there's no lack in the universe, number one, and if you don't learn to attack your lack does attack you. A lot of people go by the phrase and they stress to do what they call thinking outside of the box. Well, I dispel that. I don't believe that at all. I believe that there is no box. And if there is no box, all there is possibility. And when you think that way, then you can go back into the origin of why we were created in the first place is to continue to create. And in creation, it's really about the imagination. And a lot of people can make money, but how many people are duplicating themselves in the lives of others? How many people are becoming a wind beneath the wings of other people? And that's what we really love to do because most people don't think that way. And, because I believe you keep what you have by giving it away. And if you understand there is no lack in the universe and abundance, a rising tide really does float all boats. As you go up, as you grow and as you excel, and even when you have the toughest times in the world and you share that story and take the power of something that can be negative or can be depressing and give it life where it can be inspiring, every experience you have can be a blessing for someone else. Everything. And when you realize that and understand the true value of your life and the true value of life itself, that's the beginning phases of really getting it, to be able to serve, to make a difference. Because as you're doing that, you're becoming that as well. And as you become that, then you open yourself up to the universe. And if the universe has something to offer, it's offering it to you. I always tell people, if there's money in the room, money loves me. Okay. But also, it's not about just getting money for money's sake. How many people can we help? How many people can we serve? You may not know this, Bo, but just recently, I believe it was June 11th, I was elevated to become the Baron of St. James in Cappadocia. So now it's His Excellency Baron St. James in Cappadocia and Sir Dr. James Italy III. There's a lot to say, but I'm really, really honored for that because I'm just the standard bearer of what is possible. And in the Royal Order and in our nonprofits and the other nonprofits we serve, it's really about how many people can we help? How can we collaborate to make the world just a little bit better?
Well, Baron Dentley, one thing that I've said is that people do not choose to be part of an ancient order. The ancient order chooses the people. And so I believe that it is your destiny from the moment that you are born to be a part of such an organization that has a history of doing good around the world. And God knows that today, more than ever before, we need strong barons and sirs to carry that baton forward to continue the work that the world needs. And so before we bring in the group to start our group discussion, I do want to talk a little bit about the work that you're doing with JD3, because I think that it is so important. And as a media company that shares similar values, I wanted to make sure that we take a moment to discuss this incredible platform before we start the conversation on leadership with the group. So talk a little bit about JD3, because it's really revolutionary, and the work that you are doing to give a voice to individuals that are working to transform, uplift, and elevate the world, I think is so incredible. And the Los Angeles Tribune supports JD3 and endorses JD3. So please, James Dentley.
Well, first of all, thank you for that, sir. JD3 TV was really born to solve a problem and fill a need. And it started, this dream was first, the seed was planted many years ago, but it wasn't the right situation. There weren't the right people around me who wanted me to go out. For their means, they wanted to make money and they wanted me to work and make the money, and it was on their agenda. I had no reason to do it. I changed my mind after 10 years as a speaker and a trainer and someone who's trained speakers and helped about 88 people build 7 to 8 figure businesses. During COVID, a lot of my friends were hurting. A lot of people that were very successful were hurting because everything shut down in the speaker world. So I'm always thinking about what's next. How can we separate ourselves from the pack? How can we make the distinction between what you do and what everyone else does? That what makes you different? Why you? How to answer that question? Because I believe that if you're going to build a business, your marketing can make you money, your branding creates your wealth. As you become an influencer, that you can inspire, impact, educate, and again, that you can duplicate yourself and others and learn so much, because once you teach, you learn again. You learn twice. Once taught, twice learned. So JD3 TV was started because my speakers and people I trained, and I would put them on stages, had no place to speak, but they had a message to share. And I knew streaming would be the next level, and streaming would be take them to a celebrity status. So we created something that's extremely unique. But then I had to look at, well, what's the difference between them just going on YouTube or these other great platforms, Facebook? It's a lot of them. I said, well, first of all, they don't get their data. And these companies are worth billions of dollars because they have the data. You get views and likes, and we get excited about that. But it's not about the attention, it's about the data. Because in the data, you can build a true community. You can really learn from the people that are plugging into you, and you can build a real value-based relationship for those same people. So if somebody looks at a screen through Roku or looking on our app, through Android or Apple or on the web, and then you can bring them inside, and you can bring their stories and give them life. You know, I believe a life worth living is worth recording. And if you have a story out there, we have a slogan, if you got a show, we want to know. Because every life has a story baked into it. And that story is attached to someone else's story, and no one else can tell that story like you for that person but you. That your life has meaning. There's a purpose to everything you've gone through, everything you've achieved, and every pitfall that you have, that you can bounce back with that. But when you can inspire and impact somebody else, because so often, Mo and Persa, is that people feel like they're alone. They feel like they're by themselves, and they strive to belong to something. So JD3 TV is one of those things where In this platform, the content creators, we teach them, we train them, we support them. They have their own content. They have their own marketplace. They have their own live stream. They can do live stream. They can do pay-per-view or free per-view. They can take their Zooms and put it right on the screen and shoot it live on JD3 TV. But then have some amazing content. And you know what's so amazing now? Right now, a lot of the writers are on strike. A lot of actors are on strike right now. And everybody's going to AI. So now, as there's a calamity on one end, anytime there's a calamity, there's an opportunity. What's the opportunity? Well, everyone now can create content and they can get their story out. And there's ways to do it. And we want to showcase that and create a medium where we can help people not only to free their lives, but their souls by expressing the things that sometimes they may be dark in their life. But when you bring some of those challenges you've been through or you're going through out, they have no power over you. You'll find that there's people dressed up, they look amazing, their backstory is amazing, but they're dying inside and they need to hear from you. They need to hear it. So, and because of that, we can build a stream of income for people. And then we can encourage every person to give back, to support a nonprofit or a charity, to be an impact to your community, but more importantly, be an example to people.
Yes.
Because you give a person something, but the example gives them hope and it awakens something in the human spirit that has always been there.
Lead by example, the best way to be a leader. And, I resonate so much with a lot of what you're saying when it comes to data. Companies like Oracle have grown because of this one simple principle. And although the Los Angeles Tribune is a newspaper company, I see it more like a technology company, James, when people ask me, what is the Los Angeles Tribune? It's not just a newspaper company. We're a technology company. Yes. And so with that being said, I want to bring in the exciting panel that we have, Michelle McLean, Steve Sims. I see we have some incredible powerhouses here that are going to join this conversation now. Stephanie, I believe you may have to go. There we go. Let's put you back in the green room. Oh, there we go. You're here. So I want to kick it off with you, Steve. You've been in the background listening in the green room to Baron James Dentley and his principles on leadership. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this idea that we're going to discuss today with this panel on servant leadership and what it means to be a servant leader. Steve Sims, floor is yours, please.
Wow. So you threw in a low ball question really early on. Leadership has changed. The leadership of decades, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, was order, shout, and get them to do. Now people are a lot more questioning. We're a lot more curious, just as a society today. Someone says, hey, you're going to do this. The first thing that pops up into someone's head is, why? Why are we doing it like that? And they will challenge the request. As a leader, you need to be able to do what you're asking someone else to do. And you need to lead by example. It's a classic line, but so many people ignore it. Most people lead by yelling. You need to be able to turn around and go, hey, this is what we're doing. But if you can think of another way of doing it that's got to be more cost efficient on price, energy, then tell me, share it with me. So leadership needs to be far more of a communication than an order today.
So good. So good. I would love to hear from Michelle. Michelle, what does servant leadership mean for you?
Well, what he was just talking about, to add to that, leaders either come from a place of inspiration, inspiring others to move forward, inspiring others to do the job, XYZ, whatever it is, right? And there's another type of leadership I was taught that's manipulation. So I believe we can come from one of two places, right? Being the leader that has the identity of the leader, and we tell, show, try, do, right? It was what I was taught. Tell someone how to do something, show, tell, show, try, have them try it, and then do it, right? So tell, show, try, do. But we as the leader get to know what that looks like first, to go first, be the one to lead the pack, right? And I feel like that comes also from our identity, how we see ourselves. If we see ourselves as the leader because we know it, we see it every day, we lead ourselves in our life powerfully every day. We're not just commanding people, telling the troops what to do, right? We're like, hey, did you see my Instagram today? Did you see me doing my morning routine? Did you see me on my calls, right? We're able to show with how we live is our leadership. That is our identity. So creating that for ourselves, I think, is huge. So for me, leadership has a lot to do with identity. Which is actually what I help a lot of people do, is creating the identity for who they want to be in the world. We're all going to die one day, right? So it's choosing, how do you want to leave the planet? What do you want to be known for? You have that choice, right? You have the power. And over your life, right? If you
Power
choose
of-
to be in the power.
So good.
So,
Sorry to interrupt you. Power of choice is everything, Michelle. I'm so glad you brought that up. Power of choice, because I think that as leaders and each person leading their own lives, we get to really tap back into that power of choice. So powerful, powerful what you just brought up. I'd like to hop to Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie. We've talked a bit, had a few conversations, and I'd like to have you hop in. What does servant leadership mean for you?
Yeah, well, thank you. I just really, one of the things that I've always talked about is really you just got to do the work. You got to be there right in the front lines with your people and with your team, that you're not afraid to roll up your sleeves and get the work done, just like what you would expect of them. And always just leading from the front. Like, Michelle was saying too, we got to show up. We got to, and with that positivity, right? And there's things that are going to happen. I speak a lot on, affirmations and overcoming adversity, and things are going to happen. We're going to fail. We're going to have setbacks. We're going to fall down. You fall down 7 times, you get back up 8 times. And just understanding that resiliency is just so important. And I think for me, it's just being right there alongside of you and knowing that, and being transparent. I've made mistakes. I've had my failures, but together we can be better. And so, yeah, I just show up and then lead from the front.
Keep showing up. So good. So good. And just the power of showing up, the power of choice, all of these, leading by example, all of these things we've heard so much and so often, right? And I think as we continue to slow ourselves down and really check in with how often we are doing these things become simplified, yet more powerful. Personal opinion, though, of course. I'd like to hop over to Tammy. Hi, Tammy. I think you're still muted, Tammy. Okay, while Tammy is hopping over to figure out her mute, I'd like to go over to Denise. Hi, Denise.
Okay, got my mute off. Hello. Thank you.
Let's need to hop into the conversation. What are your thoughts so far?
For me, servant leadership is how are you in those times where you feel you're being tested, right? When we're being tested, when everyone's looking at us, when we're going through challenges, and that challenging moment, what are we going to do in that moment when everyone's looking at us to pull ourselves up from that challenging moment, right? So for me, that's what servant leadership means to me. I was definitely not one that wanted to be a leader. It just naturally happened. When it came to doing nonprofit work, I would start posting it, and it was just for me. It's what's in the heart, and if you're following your heart, other people's hearts will follow. So for me, that's a big thing. Leadership, I feel, comes from the heart, and others will follow. Yeah.
Servant leadership absolutely does come from the heart. So good. So good. So I'd like to hop over to Tammy. Last but certainly not least, in successful mic opportunities here.
Well, I think a lot of what Denise said I could resonate with, but also I believe that a leader has to have and know that your audience, they're questioning themselves just as much as you're questioning yourself. So you don't have to be afraid to make a mistake, because that's like, just like Denise said, that shows that you're human, that you can, you might be on stage in front of like 1 million people and just fudge it up. Just stop and say it. They will laugh with you rather than trying to just hide it up. So I think that's when you just become transparent, very transparent, and just let them know that I'm in your shoes, I've been in your shoes, or we're walking a similar path. I think that goes a long way.
Very powerful. And I'm glad that we had a chance to hear from everyone here. And Denise, the work that you do in Mexico, helping impoverished children and people in poverty, is absolutely incredible. So we were so excited to have you here. Now, I want to make sure that we utilize this opportunity properly. Every single person on this screen is a leader and has done some incredible things in the world of business. What I want to know from each person, as we have about 40 minutes left in this program, is what is something that took you many years to learn about business that would have given you a shortcut had you known this principle earlier? We all have lessons in life. Sometimes these lessons are obtained through pain, through struggle, through years of experience. So I want to start off with Dr. James Dentley. what is a principle that took you a while to learn that helped you earn? Dr. James Dentley, please.
Wow. You know what? I'm going to share a principle, but there's not just one. You know, it's almost like putting different ingredients in a crock pot to create something new out of many things. And when I look at, first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you, because the culture you create as a leader and bringing people into agreement, for me, it was really becoming coachable and understanding the value of mentorship, and not to be dependent upon someone to save you, to go out there and get the information. Even before Google was here, the information was at hand that you can study from Think and Grow Rich, What Makes the Great Great. Several people have gone down the path. So when you run into those roadblocks, when things go wrong, you don't have to go wrong with them. There's a solution that was baked in. There's always a way. You become innovative. And I would say this, I want you to ask me for one, I got to give you two. Imagination is a big thing. Imagination. You know, as a leader, to be an instrument of possibility, it means that you're open to create things, because everything that we enjoy, we see all around us right now, once upon a time, it never existed. Where did it start? The thought, the thing, the mental, the physical, the inner, the outer. Van Gogh said, I dreamed my painting, then I painted my dream. So when you have the imagination and you can perceive a new reality, you can really tell the future if you're willing to write it and enroll people in a vision bigger than themselves until they capture one of their own and empower that vision and bring them into collaboration. And that's the true power, taking a team of many and making one. Like biblically it says, one body, many members. Together we're stronger.
Powerful. Together we are stronger. And I believe we are created for community. We are created to excel together. I think that the communication and the figuring out of how to do that well and how to do that effectively, we're still working on, but that's just being human, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to go to Tammy next. Tammy, go ahead and hop in.
I think something that I learned early on is that you can't not force is the wrong word, but you can't make somebody want to work with you. They're either going to want to work with me or with Denise or with Steve, or it's just the personality they like. And if that door closes and they like somebody else better, so be it, because there's another one right around the corner and that one's probably better. So don't ever push it. Don't try to push the door open. If it starts to close on you, just let it close.
Mm-hmm. With every closing, there's another opening or 10, right?
Totally. And yeah. And most often the thing you were trying to get so hard, something in the universe was telling you no. So if you let it go, the next opportunity is most likely better.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they often say rejection is your elevation or your promotion, whatever the saying is. I'm not very good at sayings, but something like that.
You got it.
It's your redirection. Rejection is your redirection.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. See, we're better together already.
Right.
All right, Denise, go ahead. I'd like you to hop in.
I'd say for me, it's intuition. Took me a little bit to just trust my intuition when it comes to everything, whether it's a business decision, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a choice you're trying to make in regards to like a family decision. I think for me, intuition is key here. In business, I feel that at the very early stages in my 20s, intuition I would shy away from. I would go away from the fear. And then I just move a different direction that would push me away. I did not want to go, whether it was like speaking on stage. Fear was like, no. So I would follow. I'd push away from fear and go where I wasn't scared. Whereas if I would have made those choices early on and I just followed the intuition of moving forward with whether it was scary or not, and just following my intuition in business and relationships as well, I think I would talk to my younger self and say, hey, just follow your intuition.
So good. Intuition, which leads to self-trust, right?
Yeah.
And I think if we all learned how to trust ourselves a lot sooner than later, life would look a lot different. And we all get to be here now.
Yeah.
Steve, go ahead and hop in on this one. This is so good. Thank you for that, Denise.
Of course.
As a coach, I've been able to work with everyone from Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Elton John to the Pope. So I teach on the ability of being able to achieve anything and the art of communication. And the only reason I can actually teach on that is because I was so bad at it. And I think probably one of the most pivotal, and James is correct, there's a million pivots throughout our entire life. And there's probably one happening today and even now for us or for someone. You learn something, you learn to be exceptional at something by first being absolutely atrocious at it. And I learned how to ask an exceptional question by originally asking absolutely pathetic ones. So I think that the pivot for me was whatever I was going through, it wasn't there to define me, it was there to refine me. Yes. And every time I asked a bad question and I got I'm a big ugly guy. When I come running at you to ask a question, you know, you could be put on your back foot unless I approach it correctly. And I learned how to approach and to deliver because originally I was really bad at it. So I think what we need to do now is to understand that whatever we're doing badly is the education on the route to be able to do it properly.
Yeah, I love that.
Wow. Yes, to all of that. I'm going to go to Stephanie next and then Michelle. But before Stephanie, I think that's such a great invitation, Steve. It's a great invitation for all of us to really identify and walk into acceptance of what we don't do well necessarily. If it's communication, which I think we all are a work in progress on, but whatever we're not doing well at yet, that it's such an invitation and we get to take that permission that we get to give ourselves and really step into elevating that and refining that and letting it be that teacher to ourselves. So thank you for being an awful communicator because you're communicating beautifully now. Okay, over to you, Stephanie.
Well, thank you. Yeah, well, it just created a great segue, Steve, for exactly what I was going to say is communication styles. I think, growing, I really wish right now I've studied communication styles and it's just so fascinating to me. And I truly wish I would have understood it at a younger age, learning that people do communicate differently. If somebody's, that direct and straight to the point doesn't mean that they don't like me. I'm a charismatic, high energy person, and those direct, straight to the point people sometimes take me back a little bit. And it's okay. If you can just learn to understand that people communicate and process information differently, but we need all of those different styles and everybody can get along. And I love what you said, James. Don't go wrong with them. I think I know we're only supposed to do one, but kind of my second thing also was just be yourself, unapologetically be yourself. And because you're not like the rest of them, I'm blonde hair, lots of sparkles, loud voice. I worked in a male dominated financial services industry in corporate America for 25 years. And for so long, I felt like, I just had to kind of, do whatever they said and go with the flow. And I couldn't be me. I couldn't express who I was. And a lot of times what I was thinking wasn't the same thing they were thinking, but I just felt like I had to go along with it. So now I'm like, hell no, I'm not going down with them. I'm going to do it my way and communicate the way that I know how to communicate, but understand that people are a little different than I am, and understanding how I might not have to communicate with them a little bit differently as well. So they understand where I'm coming from and what I'm about.
Authenticity is key, Stephanie. So good with that one. And it's harder to do than to talk about and to discuss and present, and stepping into that every day is so powerful.
Right.
This is incredible. I've been in the back taking notes, and folks that are watching, I want you to really understand the power of this group of individuals that we've compiled for this week's episode. I mean, when it comes to individuals that are making an impact in the world, Steve Sims has impacted and influenced Elon Musk. And you see all of the things that Elon Musk is doing around the world. So these are not just leaders. These are the leaders on the screen that are influencing the leaders of the world. Baron James Dentley, he's part of an ancient order that has existed for thousands of years, protecting everything that is righteous about what it means to be a human being. And all of these incredible folks, whether it's Michelle, Stephanie, Tammy, Denise, making an impact locally, making an impact internationally. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick 30-second break. We're going to come back with the second half of the program. And folks, if you're watching live or if you're watching this on our Roku channel after the fact, make sure you watch this episode at least 2 or 3 times, because this one is one that you want to take a lot of notes for. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Exciting panel. And so, Parisa, I'm going to give it back to you. Take it away. And as the folks have an opportunity to speak, I want everyone to also share their final words, because we're actually down to the last 25 minutes of the program, believe it or not. And so, Parisa, back to you.
Thanks, Mo. I would like, actually, Michelle, you didn't get a chance to hop in on that last question. I'd love to have you share on that one as well. So over to you, Michelle.
Yeah, well, looking back, I tried to think on, okay, what would I do different knowing now? And what stands out to me is I work a lot with energy, universal laws, quantum mechanics now in the business that I have. And in the first business that I created, if I could go back, I would use the law of assumption, which assuming that everything is going to go how you want it to go. Everything is going to play out how you want it to play out. This is the right client. This is the right customer. This is what I prayed for. This is in alignment. It's all working out for me. Having that type of mentality, because we're actually sending energy to that creation and that outcome versus what may be, oh, this isn't going to go right, blah, blah, blah. We're in our fears. We're in our what might go wrong. So we're actually then creating that reality instead. So that is one thing. And then second, I would say is having those hard conversations ASAP, right? When I was first getting started with my first business at the age of 23, I feel like I lost a few business partners because of the fact that I didn't have those hard conversations immediately. Like now I know you feel a little bit of fuzzy energy between you two, nip it in the butt. Let's have a cleanup conversation right now. Hey, I was experiencing this. I just want to clear it up really quick. Like coming as the solution. Do you feel what I'm feeling? Because you feel it, right? When you have it with a business partner, you feel a little fuzzy energy between you guys, or a client, you feel something is off, right? Intuitively, we feel that. We know that there's something going on. So now I know to like, hey, let's presence this to clear it with the intention to clear it, keep a strong bond. So you create a foundation for your business. Energetically, everything is clean, everything is solid. So you build solid all the way up. There's no cracks. There's not anything uncertain. Everything is very solid, clean, crisp, and complete for long term. So that's what I would say.
Handle the tough conversations. For all areas of life, right?
Yes.
Huge. Yeah, huge. And I think that those are the conversations that teach us the most about ourselves. And I found that those conversations teach us most about other people and how we're so similar. Yeah, we sometimes forget that, but we are so similar. With that, I'd like some final remarks, but with the final remarks and question, I'd like to go to James. And James, with your rich history and all the work you've done and just who you show up as a person every day. First of all, I'm honored to be here with you. So thank you for being here with me. And with that, my question for everyone with your final thoughts is, how do you help yourself when you just don't feel like showing up?
I don't live in that reality. Honestly, oh my goodness gracious. When I started writing books on frequency, and I worked with the Bob Proctors and some of the top speakers in the world, I built a lot of different companies. I've spoken in front of over 1 million people throughout the world, trained speakers for 29 years. I found a way 25 years ago, Rissa. I wake up happy every day. I wake up and fall in love with my wife every single day like a fresh rose from the garden. Every day I choose it. Every day I summon it because I am who I am conscious of being. And I can't control the things happen outside of me, but I control what happens inside of me. Because if I look at life itself and how grand it is and the possibility, coming from where I tell people I had a D average in high school, never went to college, I have an honorary doctorate degree. I'm a bearer of a royal order. I've gotten legacy awards and celebrity and all the other cool stuff. But the heart thought was that I found a sense of purpose, that I can make a difference, that my life had a meaning, that I can actually be an impact when people say, thank you so much. It makes me think, ask myself, is my mother proud right now? Because that's what I wanted to do. is make mama proud. So I don't wake up with the challenging days. I show up because I built a muscle. When the doctors told me 5.5 years ago I had cancer, I came back home. My wife was amazed because she tells this story that I just went to work. I said, operate. I'm really going to live life now. Don't tell me you're going to take it away. I get that. But I'm going through it. I've been cancer free now 5.5 years. So I built a muscle of how I'm going to show up and who I just choose to be every single day. Because if I don't do that, then I'm operating on the whims of the things outside of me. I control what happens inside of me and to become inner directed, to choose joy and to choose love. Because I can love anybody because I love them for them. If I love them for me, I love them until I don't get my way. If I love them for them, I love them across the street. It doesn't matter anymore. So to understand that on a cellular level, and we talked about a lot of things, I'll make it really quick. On a cellular level, all of our cells, these trillion of cells, they communicate. They have to talk. They're more intelligent than we are up here. They keep us breathing. They keep our heart beating. They keep us flowing. We were born 90% water. We're 70% water right now. So how are we speaking life into ourselves and into other people? To live life is to really live life is to live a life and seek fulfillment. To seek fulfillment. That's what it's all about. And to seek fulfillment is about experience, to be open, to be vulnerable, and to become a teacher by become a great student. So when you collaborate and you bring people together, you learn so much about who you are and who you're not. And even in speakers, I train my speakers that on that stage, I'm not the star, I'm the director. The audience is the star. I got one job. Help you get that Oscar. If I do that, man, it's such a charge I get doing this a job well done. So I wake up every single day of my life, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm always on. I just stay on. It's just I build a muscle. I tried to have a bad day once because people talked about it. It didn't even work out. So I just cut it out and just live my life.
I love that. That is it's so good. And I love the whimsical flair on that. That's so good. The choice to show up. You know, just like you said, you chose to have the bad day and it just didn't work out for you, and all those playful.
Yeah.
It is that simple. So good. Thank you for sharing that. That
Yes.
was incredible. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hop over to Michelle. Michelle, same question for you. How do you help yourself when you just are not motivated to show up?
I was gonna say, I wish I was like James. Okay, I got way more emotions than that. I will wake up so many times where, like, and I'll say, for instance, this last week and a half, I lost a loved one, and that doesn't mean my business and my whole life got put on hold to mourn that loss, right? I still got to show up every day, even when there were days where I didn't want to get out of bed, where I could lay in bed all day long, and so there are certain ways that I'll set myself up for success when I know I'm going through something emotionally. So I'm not fully run by my emotions. I give myself the chance to purge some of the emotions. Like I'll go to the beach. I'll take time for myself, right? To go through whatever I might be going through that's causing me to not want to show up. But then I'll set myself up for success in a way like starting a challenge for myself that I'll declare publicly. So this is something I like to do for myself because it's a way to use your ego to support you, to where you're running your ego's not running you, right? Because we all have an ego, that voice that cares about what people think, cares about our image, cares about, cares about certain things like that the spirit doesn't care about, right? So I use my ego in a way of like, I'll tell my Instagram followers, I'll tell certain platforms, hey, I'm going to start a 75-day challenge, or I'm going to start a 21-day challenge. If you don't see me go to the gym every day, call me on my I will like declare it to the world in a way to my ego is like, yeah, we don't want people to think that you're weak. We don't want people to think that. So it's using the way the ego is set up, right? The ego wants me to look good. The ego wants me to look a certain way of leadership, right? The ego does all these things. So I'm like, all right, we're going to use my ego right now because I need my ego right now because my emotions and my sadness, there's a lot of things happening. So I need to call on my ego right now. So I'll set myself up for things like that with a challenge in a way that it keeps me accountable to what I say I'm going to do when I don't want to show up. So I would say that. And then I get reconnected to my vision. So the vision for whether it's my purpose, long-term, sometimes that's what works. It's like my long-term, what I'm here for, what I believe my creator really put me here for, to impact people, to be a voice that's unique, pure soul of unconditional love. Sometimes I'll just, if that's the only vision I can connect to, I'm like, today I'm going to show up as unconditional love on all my calls because that's the best I can do today. Giving myself permission to, that's the best I can do today is show up as unconditional love. That's the best I can do, right? So giving myself that permission to show up in that. So I would say connecting to vision, whether it's long term, whether it's short term, connecting with my morning. Part of my morning routine is connecting with my vision, right? So connecting with that vision each morning and making sure, okay, this is what I'm getting out of bed for. This is what I'm showing up for. This is why these people need me today. This is who I get to be in the world today, so that I'm not in bed for, days on end when there's grief or fill in the blank.
Right. Well, I send my condolences, and I hope everyone's taking some notes here. I know that Mo usually has a stack of pencils next to him taking notes, so I hope you all are taking your notes as well. Stephanie, thank you, Michelle. Stephanie, I'd like to go over to you. Some final words and response to the question, how do you help yourself when you don't feel like showing up?
Yeah, I would say for me, it's gratitude. Just really, I think it was Wayne Dyer that said it. I heard it a long time ago, and it clearly resonated with me. Gets out of bed, just says thank you. So when I put the left foot down, it's thank, the right foot, it's you. And I just sit there for a moment, and it's like, okay, I can see, I can smell, I can taste, I can touch, and just that basic gratitude, and I'm breathing, I can feel there's blood pumping through my veins and there's oxygen flowing through my body. And it's a good day. It's a good day that I am on, and I just have my general senses about me. And to me, that's just, you just have to start with that just simple gratitude. And both, James and Michelle, you said, it's a choice. It's a choice. I can choose to be thankful for what I have that day. And it's a good thing, because so many other people don't have that ability. Not everybody wakes up every day, and not everybody wakes up and be able to see, hear, smell, taste, your two legs, walking, driving a car, hearing a voice. So I think just simple gratitude for the basic things in life.
Solid. Gratitude to wake up each day. Yes. Yes.
I think this is incredible, and you're absolutely right, Parisa, when it comes to pencils. When you have Steve Sims on the show, when you have Dr. Dentley on the show, when you have Michelle McLean and all these leaders on the show, I would be foolish not to take notes. And so it's a pleasure and privilege to be alongside such incredible leaders. And Parisa called me out. I've been in the back taking notes. And when it comes to gratitude, I'm so glad someone brought up this idea of gratitude. I have a book coming out later this month that Dr. Joe Vitale wrote the foreword for. And something that I learned years ago from Joe was the power of gratitude and the importance of having gratitude for everything in life. In fact, a story that he shared that hit me in the heart years ago was that at one point in time, he was homeless, living in his car, and he had nothing, James, to be grateful for, really, until he noticed that he had a pencil in his car. And he spent time and actually was grateful for a pencil as a homeless man. And he thought to himself, well, you know what? I do have a lot I could be grateful for. This pencil, I can write a book with it. I can write a letter with it. I can do a lot of things with this pencil. And that planted the seed that made him a multiple times New York Times bestselling author. So I hope folks get a copy of the book. It will be available in Barnes & Noble stores as well as online on Amazon. Dr. Joe Vitale, thank you for writing the foreword to that book. And I want to just give the floor to Steve, because I don't think the folks understand what an all-star lineup we have. And Steve is so huge that the fact that, he shared an hour of his time to be with us is a blessing. Steve, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the power of gratitude? Is it just woo-woo, foo-foo, or is there something tangible and practical about applying gratitude in our lives? Please, Steve Sims.
I think probably my poorest years was when I actually looked at it as woo-woo. I was the kind of prick that discarded everything when I was young and thought, no, that's stupid. And then you start realizing it and you start understanding it and you start owning it. And then especially you start benefiting from it. I think as entrepreneurs, we receive what we want to see. So if we want to see negativity, then that's all we're going to see. If we want to see opportunity, that's what we're going to see. And a good friend of mine, Dr. Sean Stevenson, he used to question everything that ever happened to him. And he used to question it, has this been done to me or has it been done for me? And when you suddenly frame it like that, it gives you the chance. And as an entrepreneur that wants to see the opportunity, wants to see the perk. And bearing in mind, one little fact that many people don't realize, during the 2 years of COVID, there was an explosion of first-time millionaires. At no point in any other time in history has so many new millionaires ever been registered in what so many think is our darkest time. But as entrepreneurs, we see opportunity, we grab it, we consume it, and we run with it. So I think the focus is to be able to be in control. And the theme that's gone around everyone here is that we're in control of how we show up. We're in control of how much gratitude, love, commitment we actually have. And we are not we're not the tail that wags the dog. We're the ones that turn around and go, it's raining. Great, I'm going to get wet. We're the ones that actually look at the opportunity and the good times.
Your response just got me so fired up, Steve. So good. We are in control. I share the same sentiment, and it can be such an illusion at times. We can be so misled because a lot of the other stories and narratives and experiences and all of the things, we are in control. And to come back to that truth that we are in control is so powerful. Wow. Thank you, Steve. That was amazing. Before we close up our last 10 minutes, I would like to make sure I have Denise and Tammy. Go ahead and share your thoughts. We'll go with Denise first.
I completely agree with the gratitude. Even in my darkest moments, I find what am I grateful for? A quick story. I got stung by a stingray a month ago, and the poison, if you've ever been stung, is absolutely excruciating, right? So when I'm on the boat, they're trying to get me to the ER, going across the ocean. My mantra to myself was, I have a beautiful life and I'm grateful for it. And my leg's still attached. And I kept repeating that over and over, and it got me through the pain. And for me, it's what can you find in that like darkest moment, and what can you focus on, and what are you grateful for? Because for me, I just kept repeating the mantra, beautiful life, beautiful pain. If I weren't feeling this pain, then I wouldn't be alive, right? So for me, it's just repeating your mantras, finding what you're grateful for in that dark moment, because we are human, we are alive. And for me, that's precious to me. And two, anytime, for me, laughter is, even when I was going through that pain, it's very strange as it sounds, I laugh, I cackle. So I'm not one that knows how to cry. I laugh, and for some reason it helps me. It pushes me through the pain. If I'm going through a moment, I call up one of my best friends, and we just laugh about that moment. I find that when you pull humor through a dark moment, somehow it gets you past it. So yeah, leaning on your friends and just your gratitude.
Love that. That was so good. Finding the smallest, simplest things to be so grateful for. Everything builds from the smallest things. So that's a great reminder to never minimize what we have right in front of us. If it's your breath, if it's waking up, a beautiful life, even though you might be in a moment where you are freaking out and it's dangerous and all of the things. So beautiful. That was amazing. Thank you. And Tammy, over to you. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I think you all said a lot of key things that resonates with me. But, I get up every day, and I just I don't like to get up in the morning, but as soon as I get up, I remember, wait a second, my sister is not here anymore. She's 51, and she just died like a year ago from cancer. So I think to myself, how can I even think that, how can I have a negative thought at all? My friend just died a week ago with me. Literally a couple hours after we left him. And I always think there's positive in everything. And you have to remember where you've been also. So maybe, you think your house isn't the best, but then you have to remember there are people that don't have houses. There's people that've never been where you're at. People, you look at your body and you're like, oh, this isn't right. And that isn't right. But you have to remember where you were. I used to weigh 200 pounds. So every time I look at that, I'm like, wait a second, I'm okay. But it comes within, and it's a belief. And you have to own it and know it, and you have to believe it, and then it resonates out. And the people around you, and it starts to spread like wildfire. The saying, you give someone a smile, you get a smile back. If you look like you've got, stinker on your face, you're going to get a stinker on your face. So I always believe every day is a blessing. And even though things go wrong in life, there's always it's right around the corner. It's going to change. It just takes a little bit of time sometimes. And while you're going through it, you have to just keep continuing on, knowing that you're here for a reason, and you might not know that reason right now, but it's there. And as you progress through life, you will touch people. And as people say always, and I believe this wholeheartedly, people will always remember how you made them feel. How do you make people feel when you're around them? And that's the important part.
Thank you, Tammy, for sharing that and opening up about some of your personal vulnerabilities to remind us all about the preciousness of life. And there's a movie out right now called The Sound of Freedom that I encourage all of our audience to go and watch because it touches on a subject matter with regard to human trafficking. And we need to remind ourselves that life is very precious, and we all, as leaders, need to do something to bring more light to the world. So I want to thank Michelle, Denise, Stephanie, and Tammy for being such incredible contributors to this panel. In closing, I'm going to have Steve and James stick around and share just some final thoughts and let our audience know where folks can find out more about their work. So Steve, Dr. Dentley, let's start with you. We have a couple of minutes left here, and I'm just curious what your final thoughts are that you'd like to share with our audience, and how can people get in touch with you, please, Dr. Dentley? You're muted. You're muted. Let's make sure you're unmuted here.
My primarily final thought would be this. First of all, Steve, it's been an honor. It's been really, really cool, man. Just, when you're really good at what you do and you're really in harmony with yourself and the universe itself with life, you're able to say a few words and they go a long way, and hidden messages in the few words. And I caught them. So I look forward to getting a chance to meet you, and I look forward to hear more about you and researching and find out more about you. If you have something out there, I want it. Good man. Congratulations.
Well, we'll make it happen. We'll make it, James. It was an honor to get to know you. So trust me, we're not going to leave. We're not going to leave this alone.
Amen. Amen. First of all, JD3 TV. JD3 TV is a very unique platform, and it's a platform with tech. We have television shows, movies, master classes. We actually have the 17 films by Donna Melinda Boyer, from Beyond the Secret to Beyond Limitations, Power of Thought. All those movies are there. Think and Grow Rich movies are there. We have a great cast of people that really, really believe in what we do, because we built this to empower other people who had great, amazing content that needed a shot. They got great work. They want to do great things. They don't have the positioning, number one, or the funding to get to where they really want, or they have the funding but don't know how the contacts to be able to tie it together. So to create their own community, whereas they can have their own social impact inside of that, have their data, learn what to do with that, and then couple that around our events. With our events, then for example, the Limitless Experience, we have that 3 times a year in Chicago. Next year, we'll do it in about 9 cities. And it's really catching on to now give these incredible people a platform where they can speak, build their brand, and drive an actual community around just the streaming aspect of it as well, and create programs and products and just do it the right way and make sure that we strive to make the true difference, because that's the true reward. The monetary reward. See, the best things in life are free. Now, I do agree that second best things are very expensive, but the best things in life are really free. Go out there and make a true difference. So that's JD3 TV, and then the events that we put on. And then I've been training speakers for almost 30 years. And it's a joy in my life because I love to teach the psychology of the communication. So a person can understand how the brain works. How do you speak not only into the listening, but into the nervous system of another human being, to use your voice like the soundtrack of a movie, to be able to create an experience for people, who are creating anchors and triggers and lock in a message. They continue, and then keep them in a community where they can continue to grow and not charge them to death for it. Let them bring them in. Because again, the stronger they are, the stronger we are as well. So to reach me directly, you can just simply go to JD at jd3media.com and check us out at JD3 TV as well. And I'm just honored to be here. Anything we can do to help and serve, and a piece of everything we do goes to our one of 9 nonprofits that we have or we support. And it's just an honor to always be here with you, Mo.
Dr. Dentley, love you, my friend. Thank you. Okay, Steve Sims, floor is yours, brother. Final thoughts on leadership, and how can some folks get in touch with your incredible work? Floor is yours.
All right. Well, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. There's a link just here, Steve D. Sims. I think the first thing you got to learn is never miss an opportunity. I am Steve D. Sims absolutely everywhere. Instagram, stevedsims.com. but don't cross me carefully. I like people to get uncomfortable. A friend of mine once said years ago, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So if you start following me on social, if you join my online community, Sims Distillery, if you come anywhere near me, I want you to be ready to be uncomfortable because I want you to challenge you. The reason we call it a distillery is we want to take your raw ingredients and proof them. We want you to come out as just an amazing, pure alcohol, and we want you to be able to disrupt your industry. Bottom line of it is, if you're not disrupting your industry, someone is, and we want you to be in control. So, you know, it ain't friendly out there. Doesn't mean you got to be nasty, but it does mean you got to be really willing to disrupt. You want to play with me? Come and play.
I love that, Steve Sims. I tell people to practice a philosophy called radical realism, right? Doesn't mean that you're pessimistic. It just means you're radically real about life. You're radically real about human nature, and you're radically real about business. And so, again, doesn't mean you have to always have a negative outlook, but you gotta be honest with yourself about the world. And so thank you for that, Steve Sims. And that's part of the work that we do with the Los Angeles Tribune, one of the few remaining independently owned national brands in the United States of America. No corporate conglomerate has swallowed us up, nor can they, because you can't afford to buy me out. Ava Manuel, senior editor, if you'd like to close out some final words, floor is yours.
What an honor. Thank you for all of the leaders that we have featured here today and that have spoken such words of wisdom. I've used up my pen. I got to get a new pen now. And I'm just so grateful that in the Special Thought Leader Edition newspaper, which also the summer edition is coming out very, very soon this weekend. As a matter of fact, I'm declaring it. It's coming out this weekend. We are featuring experts and top authority in their fields. And so it was such an honor with the Los Angeles Tribune being the catalyst of elevating expertise in our global world.
Thank you for that, and we'll see you back next week. Thank you so much, everyone. I want to thank the panel again. Steve Sims, Dr. Dentley, thank you for being our VIP guests. Until next week, inspire, uplift, and make the world a better place.